Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Long time no see, but there is news. There is news, everybody. The devs of Uboat have graced us with a dev update. Now, if you haven't seen it, I'm here to tell you my thoughts about it, and we're going to go over every single thing that they told us here. Now, dear captains, we are back with a new development blog. This time, it's a long one. Well, that's what I like to hear. As always, we've been working hard on the next updates for Uboat. Let's dive into the details. Nice little pun there. Type 9. Now that's what we're all waiting for, definitely. We are wrapping up work on the Type 9 family, which will consist of 3 variants, which is interesting. I would have expected 4, and I'm going to tell you what I mean. Type 9 Alpha is available from the beginning of the war in 1939. It's unique in that it has 3 periscopes. Yes, it was. I did not know about that, but I immediately checked about this, and yeah, it's true. Obviously, it's true. They've done the research, but still, it took me by surprise a little bit. I don't know what the purpose of it is, but I'm sure we will find out. Type 9 Charlie has an extended range over the Type 9 Alpha and is the main workhorse of the Type 9 line. The Type 9 Charlie-40 has even greater range and an upgraded conning tower by default. So this is basically like, I guess gameplay-wise, this is the same as in when you switch from the Type 9 Charlie to the Charlie 14-1, which immediately comes with the best conning tower in the game. Possibly that's the same here. Don't know really. These will be the largest U-boats in the game. I interject, hopefully, as of now. With the highest range and vastly more living space, this makes them the best choice for distance operations. Let's look at that. Look at that. That is the inside of the conning tower, obviously. Very nice. Here the bow top. That's the stern torpedo room with the 2 stern tubes, and they've even got the head in their own compartment here. So these would be the petty officer bunks, I believe, historically. Is the big old diesel engines, very nice. The galley, which I don't know if they had a bakery on board, if the chef could make fresh bread. I know the milk cows could, but I don't know about the Type 9. But after all, looks interesting. He's got a tiled floor, very very nice. I was in the Type 21 in Bremerhaven, and he had a tiled floor in there as well, so makes it easier for cleaning there. This is, I guess, the bow room, living quarters. And then we've got the electric engine room here, which is right before the petty officers' bunks, right in front of them. So yeah, man, I can't wait to have a look in there. But coming back, I was surprised that they are giving us the Type 9 Alpha, and then next in line, the Type 9 Charlie. I was surprised by that because the Type 9 Bravo is missing from that list, and it is, I think they built a lot more. But then I thought about it, and I realized that, I mean, they gave us the Type 2 Alpha as well, which, if you don't know this, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to write that in the comments. How many Type 9, how many Type 2 Alphas do you think the Kriegsmarine built in World War II? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guesses are over. It's 6. Really not a lot of Type 2 Alphas were built, but the devs decided to put them in the game regardless. And pretty much the same can be said about the Type 9 Alpha. Only 8 were built. They built them in two lots, U-37 to U-40, and then another lot, U-41 to U-44. 2 of them became, well, in the top 10 of performing U-boats in World War II, and I think 8 of them were sunk. 6 of them were sunk and 2 of them were scrapped. There we go, right here in the wiki. And I think they gave us the Type 9 Alpha because they wanted us to have a campaign start in 1939 with the Type 9 already. The Type 9 Bravo, that's the problem about it. They were built 1938 to 1940, and they were in service from 1939 to 1945, yes. But the very, very first one, U-64, was laid down 15th of December, 1 year before the war, launched on the 20th September 1939, so 19 days after the beginning of the war, and was commissioned on the 16th of December. So then it started sea trials, la-di-da-di-da. So it entered the war a bit later. So with the Type 9 Bravo, you couldn't start from the beginning of the war. And that's why they gave us the Type 9 Alpha, because they wanted us to have it be an option from for the start of the career, basically. Now I don't know why they didn't put the Type 9 Bravo in at all. I think maybe they decided that the Type 9 Bravo wasn't different enough from the Type 9 Alpha. And so they decided, you know, we're just going to put in the Type 9 Alpha, and then the next one in line is the Type 9 Charlie. Fair enough. She is 505 in the Chicago Museum of Technology, which I hope to see one day. Because the Type 9 Alpha, like I said, only 8 boats were built. Type 9 Bravo, they only built, what was it? There we go, a total of 14. So that there would be more boats for the Type 9 Bravo, but still that's not a lot. Whereas when we come to the Type 9 Charlie, I think they build around 80 of those. 54. Okay. And then the last one that they give us is the Type 9 Charlie-40, which is even more range. There we go. 87 boats of those were built. So these are quite numerous, whereas these not so much. So the faults that they discovered while building and early use of these resulted in these later types. And then we've got Type 9 Delta 1 and 9 Delta 2 and 9 Delta-42. 9 Delta-42 never came into service. Well, one U-883 was launched and commissioned on the 27th of March, so pretty much 1 month before it all ended. So really no impact on the war on these classes. And same goes for the Type 9 Delta 1. They were built out of the Type 11 U cruisers. So, you know, irrelevant. These did not have any impact. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Charlie-40, those were the ones that actually did something. Again, I'm surprised they didn't give us the Type 9 Bravo. But again, it's probably because they didn't see too much difference between Type 9 Alpha and Type 9 Bravo. That's fair enough. I'm sure they gave it some thought, and yeah, I'm not complaining at all, because I don't know if you guys realize this, but when this boat comes to Uboat, when these boats, plural, come to Uboat, that will be the first time in the history of submarine simulators for PC or console, like in video games, let's call it that, the first time that we ever see a fully modeled Type 9 with interior and all the bells and whistles. So the small dev team of Deepwater Studios, they are writing history, video game history at the moment. No one has ever done a full Type 9. We have a full Type 7. I think Silent Hunter 5 was the first with that. But and also Type 2. That they already got the crown for that with Uboat, but no Type 9 was ever available. We had Type 9s in Silent Hunter, but we only ever saw the CIC, the conning tower, and the radio and hydrophone room. We never had like the bow compartment. We never had the engine room. This is subsim history being written right here, and I'm all for it. So I can happily live without a Type 9 Bravo. Absolutely. So let's continue with the dev blog. Flotilla headquarters. We have finally managed to improve the part of the game that, to us personally, has needed improvement for the most for quite some time. We've reworked how port stays feel and function in many ways. Now that is something that I felt did not need any work at all. This to me, I don't know why. Like that, because for me that's not what the game's about. For me, port is a necessity and not a gameplay mechanic. Like, we have to go back to refuel and all that, but it was never really a focal point of my attention, because we just come home to do the necessities and then we go back out and have some more gameplay. But they decided that they needed to work on that. Now, let's see what they have for us. You no longer have the same group of officers following you wherever you go. Instead, each port has its own Flotilla headquarters where you can interact with its staff. Okay, so basically they've changed the models around a little bit. It's just window dressing. It's just cosmetics, basically. You can probably still do the same stuff in all the ports, but, you know, the officer will not, like, what was his name, Klaus Graf or something? He will not follow you as the liaison officer to every port that you are commanded to. Fair enough, sure. But again, to me, this is not important, but make of that what you will. The command structure is now represented more faithfully, with each flotilla having a flotilla commander. 1 Alpha, Chief of Operations, 2 Alpha, Flotilla Adjutant, and 4 Alpha, Flotilla Quartermaster. I think in modern terms that would be the S3, Chief of Operations. Adjutant, whatever he does, and Quartermaster would be the S4. So that's funny that translated over. This is all NATO speak, of course. I'm sure the Kriegsmarine in World War II had a different scheme. I'm sure they've done their research on that. That will probably that's correct. Don't worry about it. There's also a briefing room and a staffed communications room in each flotilla headquarters to make it feel more authentic and lively. Yeah, again, this is for, you know, this is window dressing, cosmetics to make it look nice. Fine, good. You will be able to travel between the port, flotilla headquarters, and your accommodation by speaking with a driver. Okay. Flotilla and accommodation buildings differ between regions. For example, in France and Malaysia, they are requisitioned hotels, while in Germany they are purpose-built military facilities. Again, cosmetics, just for looks, just for the immersion. That's great. That's cool. After visiting each flotilla headquarters and being welcomed by its flotilla commander for the first time, you will gain access to a quick port activities menu. So again, this is just, you know, it's a glorified menu, and you can choose to not engage with it and just click the buttons in the bottom. Fair. This menu will appear by default after docking at your port each subsequent time and make things convenient. There we go. But it's fully optional and may be disabled in the settings if you prefer to do everything manually. Yeah, I think in my next playthrough we're just going to turn that off and we're going to immerse ourselves fully in the captain view only. Missions. Now, here we go. We've invested more time into the upcoming long patrols that we first described in a previous devlog. Namely the Cape Town group, Wolfpack Eisbär, that's polar bear in English, and Wolfpack Seehund, that is seal in English. These are going to be much more story-rich missions with a lot happening along the way. I can't wait for this. This sounds awesome. This that's a good addition. Yeah, looking forward to that. You will have an opportunity to participate in historical events such as rescuing survivors after the Laconia incident. Very interesting. If you've watched my streams, we know about this. We've talked about this a lot. Meeting the surface raider Atlantis, which is a it's like an auxiliary cruiser, repurposed merchant ship. Atlantis is a very, very bad name. Forming a reconnaissance mission of St. Helena and more. So with the German auxiliary cruiser Atlantis making it into the game, we can say new ship type confirmed. Even though that'll probably just be this one unique ship that you only see once in a mission, similar as to how you meet up with the Japanese submarine. Okay. I would really be looking forward to new enemy merchant ships. That would be good. A bit more variety in the enemies. I would be looking forward to that. But apparently that is not a priority for the devs at the moment. So we've got a screenshot here. Last year we've boarded a steamer Automedon. We seized confidential British papers and sent them on a prize ship to Kobe. I hope this is not just with the milk house where you go on board and you ask them how the patrol is going and they just give you the same dialogue option or the same response. We already supplied a ship and we got attacked by aircraft and 2 of our sailors were lost. I hope it's not something like this and they just made that to make a nice screenshot. But yeah, we'll see. Once you arrive at the patrol destination, you will find yourself in competition with other commanders for the highest GRT score in the pack. Now that is something that I just want to point out. That almost sounds like the perfect setup to turn this into a multiplayer mode. It's not, but it sounds like it is. Like you could make this into a multiplayer quick match. Like you could make this into a lobby where players can jump in on other subs in the area, which guarantees that there will be no long waiting times because you're in a wolf pack and you're already hunting together. It's not. Don't get me wrong. It's not a setup for multiplayer, but it almost lends itself perfectly to this. I'm wondering if they will do anything like this in the future. And also, I like what I see here. The southern tip of South Africa, and there's a German wolfpack hunting there, which is why the Type 9 was so successful in the early days of the war, because they were hunting in places where the Allies never ever expected U-boats to pop up in the first place, and they did. And I also like that the Type 9 gets some love outside the Monsoon group, which is, the Distant Coast DLC, which is what it's all about. They're sending us over to Penang to fight along the Japanese, again, like Silent Hunter 4 did. But I'm happy to see that they are also improving the other parts of the game, and we actually get to hunt outside of that area, and we just get some Distant Coast mission to compete in that way. So the Type 9 is also fun and playable outside of the Monsoon group. Very, very good. I like to see. During these patrols, you will sometimes receive aid from Abwehr agents in British colonies who will be using a radio transmitter in Portuguese Goa to send updates about potential high-value targets. I'm certain that they've made historical research about that. That probably happened once or twice, and so they decided to implement it. Very cool. World map. We've added several more allied bases to the game in the Atlantic and near the Cape of Good Hope. St. Helena Island, Ascension Island, Azores Air Base operating from late 1943 onwards, and the port of Durban. And that is in addition to what they're doing with the Monsoon group, because we already heard about that in the last dev update. They are doing this as well. So that's not all, that's just what they did in the South Atlantic. Very good, much needed. Good. Graphical improvements. New faces. While developing officers for the flotillas and missions, we've quickly noticed that it was time to add more faces to the game to make characters more distinct and recognizable. Okay, fair enough. We've added 11 new face types and 3 new complexions. It's now also possible to choose eye colors. Very cool. Below are a few examples. Yeah, they look fine. More cosmetics. Always nice. Just toss that in there. Happy. Sea shader and clouds. We've made various improvements to the sea shader and clouds to make the environment look more realistic. The sea now uses more modern shading formulas. Formulas? Is that formulae? I don't know. While clouds now interact correctly with atmospheric scattering, making them much more visible in the sky than in previous versions. I mean, just looking at the screenshot, that looks good. I do like how that looks. Very, very pretty. Fog simulation. Now that's something that I had a bone to pick with. I'm glad they finally addressed it. In previous versions, fog had a strong tendency to exist in only 2 states, either full-on fog with a visibility of a few hundred meters or no fog at all. Yes, I have encountered that. And also, it was dependent on the area that you were in. So if you were encountering fog, you could just stop your engine and reverse, and you were out of the fog zone and the fog would just immediately disappear. In 26.1, you will often encounter the entire spectrum. In addition, fog is now simulated more faithfully depending on the date and location. For example, summer months in the Arctic have numerous foggy days, while fog is less common in warmer seas. So I'm guessing like autumn and spring will be also foggy season for the North Sea and the North Atlantic. Very cool. I like to see that. Very good. I mean, weather is a thing. I mean, you can study meteorology at university. It's a very, very complex subject, and it's something that games get wrong often. And I'm happy that they address this. I'm happy that they're putting more work into this. This is a good addition. I like that. A more realistic wave spectrum. For a long time, we were quite sure we had made some mistake in the code that computes the spectrum for sea waves. After years of glancing at it from time to time, we finally found the culprit. A simple line of code was missing, which prevented waves from dissipating into negative energy. This adjustment eliminates some waves that shouldn't exist and makes the overall visual experience more convincing. While we are at it, we also made the swell a bit more intense. That's good. I always thought that the maximum setting of the sea was a bit low. And I also do like what they say here about makes the overall visual experience more convincing. I hope what they mean is that it stopped the boat from bobbing so intensely. I hope this is what that means. I guess we will see. Again, yeah, found an old bug. Good. Get rid of it. Other improvements. Tanker interactions. It is now possible to stop tankers and send crew to them, just like with other merchant ships. Thank God. That was way overdue. Now, if you knew the ropes around the game, you know that this wasn't necessary. If you spot a British, if you spot an American tanker in 1940 going east in the Celtic Sea, then you know you can sink them, and if you sank them, you would also not get punished. The game had the correct, you weren't considered a war criminal because that ship was obviously going into an allied port under blockade. But now I think this is a good addition for new players and for less experienced players, or for players who want to make absolutely sure. You can now go on board, check their maps, and then if you have the navigator skill and you can break the language barrier, then you get to actually designate them as a legitimate target. You get the tick in the box that actually, yes, I am allowed to sink this thing. There's no uncertainty anymore, and then you can just think it. That's a good thing. Thankfully, that I'm thankful that they finally added this. More realistic engine animation. Diesels on the Type 9 are now animated more closely to how real engines work, with a correct firing sequence for the cylinders. Very cool, very niche, very nerdy. Love it. I do like to mess around with my car. I do like to mess around with the engine. I do. So this is something that I can nerd about a little bit. So I'm happy for it. Again, is it necessary? No. Is it nice that they added? Yes. Note, we haven't ported this to the Type 7 and Type 2 yet, but we plan to do so soon. Great, put it in. Great. Gun animations. Guns no longer instantly rotate to their targets, but instead rotate over time as they should. Good. We've also improved shell splash effects. Good. Now, what I would really like to see is when the airplanes shoot at you, that the bullets splashing into the sea, they make these nice little lines of where the machine gun hits. That would be brilliant. Hopefully, we get that someday. Now, the most important part, release date. We are set to release update 2026.1 along with the Type 9 Coast DLC on the 29th of January 2026. Mark your calendar, boys. Mark your calendars. January, the 29th of January. So on the 30th of the 30th of January, we are starting a new run on Uboat on this channel. Just kidding. I first have to check all the mods, but yeah. Until then, I'm not gonna play Uboat. I'm gonna keep my urge to play Uboat down, and we're gonna jump in with the Type 9 come January 2026. We know it's been a long wait, but we want to get everything right. I commend you for that, and hope that it will be worth it. That it will be well worth it. Yours, Deepwater Studios. Yes, excellent. One more little thing. I was thinking of nominating Deepwater Studios, or Uboat in particular, for Labor of Love on the Steam deal, on the Steam Game of the Year award. Now, unfortunately, this news came out on the December 1st, so today, or yesterday if you're watching this probably. And the deadline for nominating games was yesterday. So if you had put out this Deepwater Studios, this is directed to you for next time. If you've got something like this, release it one day earlier. Now I've nominated some other game. I can't remember which one. Would have loved if Uboat actually won Labor of Love. That would be amazing. But I thought, well, we've last heard of you guys in August, so maybe you guys don't quite deserve it. But yeah, if you had dropped this news one day earlier, I would have nominated you. So, what does this leave us? We get new boats. Overall, the map gets a bit more updated. We got some visual improvements. We've got some gameplay improvements with the missions here, for especially the wolf packs. That looks really, really good. I'm happy for that. And all the other stuff is just a little bit of window dressing, which is nice to look at, and all that would not be my priority. But I think it's going to be a good update overall. So yeah, I guess we'll see each other. If you're just here for Uboat stuff, then I guess we'll see each other come February. And for the rest of you guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, or whenever whenever it is that you see this. Tell me in the comments what you think. What would you like to see? And that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and stay safe out there, and see you on the seas. Bye.